Okay, let's dive right into this fascinating breakdown of strategic communication. Today, we're looking at source materials from a service called Humans Decoded, and we're going to unpack the behavioral models they use to completely transform how people interact and connect. Have you ever felt like your words were maybe only doing half the work in a conversation? Well, this explainer is going to show you exactly why that happens, and more importantly, how to fix it. Seriously, take a quick second and ask yourself, what is your body language saying right at this exact moment? How are you sitting? Where are your hands? What is your facial expression projecting to the room around you? Because before you even utter a single syllable, you are broadcasting volumes of information. This isn't just some abstract theory, right? It's the fundamental reality of human interaction. We are literally constantly communicating, whether we mean to or not. And understanding those unspoken signals, that is exactly what we're focusing on today.
So let's get into section 1, decoding human behavior and mastering strategic communication.
You know, communication really is a superpower, but it goes way deeper than just having an impressive vocabulary. To really grasp this dynamic, we look at Humans Decoded. It was founded by TEDx speaker and international body language expert Jonathan Schufani. Now, the central mission here is to use structured, science-backed psychological principles to empower global executives and leaders. It's not about guesswork, it's about applying tested, analytical methods to give leaders the exact tools they need to influence and succeed in literally any environment. It's all about shifting from accidental communication to intentional strategy.
Let's move to section 2 and see how this builds, mastering the unspoken elements.
When we break down the core services they offer systematically, it's pretty cool to see how each one targets a very specific vulnerability in how we present ourselves. First up is body language. The major benefit here is mastering those nonverbal cues to improve both personal and professional connections. Think about those tiny microexpressions that might betray hesitation. Controlling those completely changes the dynamic of a negotiation. Then there's public speaking. This is all about building the exact confidence and clarity you need to captivate an audience, basically turning nervous energy into focused projection. And finally, corporate training, which takes these concepts and scales them up to elevate entire teams. It creates a unified standard of engagement. Every pillar addresses a totally different layer of how we connect.
Now, beyond just physical delivery, the source outlines some extra tools for a really complete communication arsenal. Business communication skills ensure absolute clarity and precision in your messaging. Meanwhile, personality profiling lets you truly understand the mental wiring of the people sitting across from you. I mean, are they analytical? Are they emotionally driven? When you combine the physical mastery of body language with the psychological insights of personality profiling, you're essentially getting a roadmap to navigate complex professional landscapes. You aren't just speaking to a room anymore, you're speaking directly to how that specific room processes information.
And honestly, this illustrates perfectly why this type of training is an absolute game changer. Client Emma Shafutukar says that this training uncovers a very important yet underestimated aspect of communications. That word right there, underestimated, hit the nail on the head. Most professionals spend just countless hours refining their slide decks, drafting their speeches, perfectly memorizing talking points, while completely ignoring the nonverbal layers that will ultimately dictate exactly how their message is received. Now, what's really interesting about this next part is Section 3, the science of truth.
Okay, so this brings us into what is definitely the most high-stakes territory of human interaction. The source material highlights lie detection as a core service, but it explicitly frames it as a way to protect yourself and people you love. That's huge, right? This takes the whole concept of decoding human behavior completely out of the corporate boardroom and drops it squarely into the realm of profound personal security. It's presented as a vital defensive skill. Being able to spot deception isn't just about, closing a massive business deal. It's a critical mechanism to make sure you are operating with the truth in all facets of your life.
And a profound gravity of this is totally backed up by real-world social proof. Take client Joe Nazi, for instance, who specifically points to the practical necessity of this skill, noting that this aid played a huge role in the determination of the truth and was very helpful. So this gives us direct proof that these behavioral concepts aren't just some theoretical classroom exercises. They are actively deployed to resolve highly sensitive, complex situations where knowing the truth is absolutely critical to the outcome.
Moving right along to Section 4, real-world transformations.
Okay, so understanding the theory is great and all, but we really need to see how mastering these skills alter real-world dynamics. Consider the number 21. Just 21. This bold number sets up a really powerful micro-narrative about the sheer effectiveness of strategic communication when tensions are running incredibly high.
Here is the incredible story behind that number, detailed by client Fady Boustros. He notes Jonathan managed in 3 hours to break the ice among a group of 21 activists representing opposing factions. I mean, just think about the intensity of that scenario for a second. You've got 21 individuals representing completely opposing factions. They're likely dealing with deep-seated misunderstandings, super high emotional barriers, and totally entrenched positions. But by using these structured communication methods, the ice was broken and human values were restored in just 3 hours. It is an extraordinary testament to the power of intentional communication to bridge even the widest divides.
If we visually map out this transformation journey, we can look at the before state. Individuals and groups plagued by misunderstandings, divided into opposing factions. Or, as client Tajwar Nehal described their own mindset, stuck looking at all the negative and shortcomings. But then, look at the after state once DIS frameworks are applied. Tajwar shifted to leading the day with a positive attitude. Across the board, clients report moving from a state of conflict and hesitation to one of absolute confidence, and from deception to the clear determination of the truth. This shift is consistently fueled by what the program calls actionable small goals for the long run.
Which brings us to Section 5, elevating your everyday communication. So, the crucial point is really bringing all of this directly back to your daily life. Like, what do you actually get out of mastering these skills? Well, the outcomes are highly practical. You enhance trust, whether you're negotiating a massive corporate merger or, honestly, just trying to reason with a stubborn toddler. You learn to communicate with true authenticity, much like client Rain Wahab noted when she mastered her body language. You gain the ability to subtly influence your environment in any setting by setting actionable, small goals for the long run. It's a systematic, everyday process of self-improvement. And hey, if you're worried that learning to decode human behavior sounds a bit dry or maybe overly clinical, client George L. Corey reassures us otherwise. He points out that the presentation of this information is actually highly engaging. He noted the visuals were well designed. I particularly enjoyed the fun, creative approach, which kept the audience interested throughout. So it really proves that learning to master your unspoken signals isn't a chore. It's a creative, fruitful, and deeply engaging experience. Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. How will you decode your next interaction? The next time you walk into a meeting, step onto a stage, or even just sit down for a simple cup of coffee with a friend, remember that your words are only ever half the story. You have the tools and the analytical methods available to master the unspoken elements, protect yourself, and communicate with absolute confidence. The real question is, are you ready to start paying attention to the signals you're sending? Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you leave feeling completely empowered to take control of your own strategic communication.